When West Shore residents gather these days, the frustration is as obvious as the Salton Sea's low water levels.
This is our life. We're breathing this stuff.
Deborah Bird says her friend has 2 young kids that suffer because of poor air quality.
It makes me sick because they're like our grandchildren, and we have to see them get sick out here.
Bird carries a plastic bag that holds something she says is as common here as large-screen televisions.
It's a breathing machine. And we have to put little bottles of albuterol in here.
She came to the sea more than a decade ago, bought a home and a boat with an eye on the good life.
We pull out like right here, they had a finger like that, and then we go into the sea, and then we go visit people that had docks, you know, and this is 2004, 2005, 2006, and we'd stop and have a drink or have lunch with them and get back in our boat.
But the water isn't deep enough anymore. Bird and her husband sold their boat for half what it was worth.
We have some great projects that have been presented.
West Shore's Mayor Carrie Morrison says the lake level dropped 3/4 of a foot last year in spite of wetter than normal weather.
We are set to see the water level go down much more rapidly than we already have.
That drop is expected to double this year.
And it's already created quite a few problems as far as the spiking of salinity, localized dust storms, and losing likely millions of animals already.
Morrison is rallying residents to stay positive as the state moves ahead with restoration plans, and he's hopeful that includes considerations for people living around California's largest lake.
We need to have our West Shores get some sort of funding, some sort of promise from the state that they're going to help us, because if they don't, we're going to end up in the dust.
Ending up in the dust is a real concern because the region already struggles with poor air quality. State health officials say 23,000 children and adults have asthma in Imperial County. The number of asthma-related emergency visits for every 10,000 residents is close to twice as high as the statewide average. And as West Shore's principal Richard Pimentel knows, young people are among the most vulnerable.
Oh, bingo!
More than 40 of his students with asthma prescriptions leave their medicine here during the day.
Inhalers with their schedule of when they're supposed to be using them and things like that. So yeah, these are all the inhalers that are registered here.
Pimentel says there are more kids that bring inhalers to school without stopping to register.
It sadly becomes part of our daily lives. The management of inhalers, the phone calls to the parents, say your kid is having a hard time breathing.
Pimentel understands the frustration and anger when a young person is incapacitated by an asthma attack, and he expects things to get worse as the Salton Sea shrinks. The retreating sea will expose more lake bed, possibly putting even more dust into the air. Committee Civico del Valle has been working on environmental justice issues for more than a decade. They're urging state officials to pay attention, and Executive Director Luis Olmedo says it's not just people living on the Salton Sea's shores who are at risk.
Just in our air basin in the Salton Sea, there's upwards of 1.6 million people that live and share this air basin.
That basin includes desert communities like Indio and Palm Springs to the north, and Mexicali across the border to the south.
This is one of our 40 monitors that we have.
Committee Civico is located in downtown Brawley, and there's an air quality monitor on the roof of their building. John Hernandez shows off what it looks like.
We fabricate everything in-house, a manifold where the air passes through a particle counter.
The group has installed about 40 monitors, and the information is shared on a website that any computer can access. Olmedo wants people to know the risks, even though that risk isn't always visible.
And it's not the dust that we see that is the problem. It's all those other particles that we don't see within that dust.
Olmedo has shared air monitoring with state officials, and he helped bring lawmakers to the county so they could see the situation on the ground. He hopes that seeing the lake and the people living around it will spur lawmakers to fight for the money needed for a solution. That solution is simple for West Shore's resident Deborah Bird.
Put water in the sea, fresh water, salt water. We don't care, just flood the sea with water, you know, that's the whole thing. It's a simple fix, and they just want to keep dragging it out, you know, so none of it's going to help us.
Flooding the Salton Sea is not the approach California is taking. Tomorrow, a look at how the state plans to cope with the receding lake and the dust that could end up in the air. Erik Anderson, KPBS News.